Alright, so first do want to mention there's no warranty on this at all, so like if you put one of these together and you go out and you get yourself in a situation where you're like depending on it and you end up dying, I take no responsibility for that because, I feel like people should be intelligent. But the first thing is I want a good container. Now, I have here, this is a peanut butter jar. It is glass, and I actually thought glass might be better than plastic for this. And the reason for that is glass is going to be easier for me to heat in a fire if I need to, for like boiling water for water purification. But also the nice thing about glass is that if I don't need to use this as a container, I could always break it and have a sharp edge. Now that being said, the first thing I'm going to go ahead and put in there is, in fact, a sharp edge. This is a little pocket knife. It's been really useful for me in a lot of occasions, and I'm just going to stick that in there. Now the thing about the knife is you want a knife that is small, doesn't take up too much room, but also is actually useful. And I have used that knife on a number of occasions and I found it quite useful. I have a different knife that I use as my everyday knife, which is why I'm okay with just sticking this in the case here. The second thing we're going to want is some sort of fire starters. Now, I have here some stormproof matches. I've never actually tested these specific ones, but I'm going to go ahead and put them in there just because, matches are a good thing. And I am going to be putting a backup in here as well. And so here's a pack of backup matches that I've put in a Ziploc bag for waterproofing purposes. Now, this container should be waterproof when I have the lid on it, but it never hurts to have redundancy. Also, the plastic bag in there can be used for holding liquids or something else at a later point. I am also throwing a hat in there. This is actually, it's a face mask or like a ski sort of hat. The reason for the hat is that usually you're going to be losing most of your heat through your head, and oftentimes staying warm is a good concern. Also, it then gives me something, if I am using this in a fire of some kind, it gives me something that I can grab it with without burning my hand. And then the last thing that I'm going to be putting in there is a ball of string. Now this is cotton string, and it does fray on the ends. The reason why I chose cotton string is because you can use this right here as fire starter if you need to. This is a good couple 100 feet of string. It's not particularly strong string, but it's strong enough that I could like lash something together, make something useful out of it. And yeah. The last thing to note is the lid, which goes on like so. Can work. It can double as a dish. Now I don't have any like utensils other than my knife in here. I could put a space blanket in here. I don't have a space blanket that hasn't been packed already. But the thing about this is, yeah, it's simple. There's a hat, matches, a knife, string. That's about it. There's also the jar itself and the lid, which I feel like are actually like half of the battle here. With this, I feel like I would have a reasonable ability to do some sort of survival camping. Yeah, because that's really what you need. Your primary concerns are some way of getting water, which, like I said, I can heat water in this to boil it and then purify it that way. I have some sort of fire starter that will be dry. That's the cotton rope there. I have something to start the fire with. Plenty of matches in there. That's a full pack of 32. And then the stormproof ones, I believe there's 20 or so in there. They're supposed to have a 15-second burn time. Pretty good stuff. And so I have a heat source, something to purify water with. Maybe not the most effective way, but it would work. And that's the thing about a survival situation, is you go with stuff that works, not necessarily the quite most optimal way. At least that's been my experience. And I feel like there's a lot of survival kits that have a lot more stuff to them that like isn't as important to me, you know? Like a lot of them will have fish hooks and stuff, which I don't know if you've ever tried going fishing for a food without proper fishing gear. It's kind of really difficult, at least in my experience. I could be wrong about all this again, but yeah. Anyway, that's how I'd go about building a survival kit. And so there we are. That is how I would go about making like a little camping survival kit. In fact, I've taken something similar to that on a survival camp out where we were staying out a couple nights, and it served me quite well. Now that being said, this is entirely based off of my personal experience. Your mileage may vary. I am planning on actually using that survival kit at some point in the future to do like a little camping outing with it. Anyway, I just want to say thank you all for watching, and hope to see you in the next one.